Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Clark of the Paydirt Prospector newsletter. I'm here in beautiful Vancouver at the Metals Investor Forum, here with Daithi Mac Gearailt, the CEO of Trailbreaker Resources, an exciting company. Thanks for joining me, Daithi.
Thank you. Thanks for having
But
me.
an exciting company flying under the radar. It's one that actually, believe it or not, 20 geologists own this stock. So there's something going on here. Daithi, start with, boy, there's a lot we could talk about
Where do you
here.
start?
But you've got multiple projects. You're probably focused a little bit more in three, if I'm right.
Correct. Yeah.
And maybe Liberty is one to start with that we should start talking about?
Yeah, Liberty is a good place to start because we had a news release on Monday. We've started to get some nice traction from that news release, so it's probably a good place to start. It's also the one that I think that will drill in the near term. So not necessarily our flagship property,
Right.
but it's the one that's most likely to be drilled next, just because of geographic location, permitting, and ease to do it.
Well, tell us about that press release, though, because what the market saw there was not just a project, but
Yeah, so we took. I think if we go back one step into sort of like the philosophy in the company is that we always have a pipeline of projects. So we haven't had Liberty that long. We're less than a year, but it ticked a lot of boxes in that philosophy of pipeline projects. So it was a small project. It was an affordable deal, but like when I say it ticked boxes, it was a really sweet target with good geochemistry. They had done some nice IP work, so it had good chargeability, good resistivity anomalies. It was right on the road, and it was fully permitted, ready to go. So, and we had no neighbors and great geology. So so you're like, let's take a look at this. So we drilled some holes. We hit decent but sub-economic, low grade, but straight into copper porphyry mineralization. So you don't do that every day. So we drilled that. We bottomed in mineralization. Our drill was maxed out at 500 meters, and we stayed inside mineralization to the 500 meters.
wow.
So that was as far as we could go. Like, as I said, it was a kind of a postage stamp project. We liked what we saw. We ended up staking a whole bunch of ground in there. We took out about 10,000 hectares, I think 9.5, 10,000 hectares, and decided to really evaluate what's going on there. So from the drilling, we could tell that the geochemistry was a bit of a red herring, but the geophysics was working. So we were hitting the mineralization on geophysics, but geochemistry was leading us astray. So we did a big geochemical survey on the project, and we realized that the footprint of the geochemistry was probably moved north about 2 kilometers. So we were just like, why are we hitting? So you're scratching your head. So we ended up doing an airborne, like a ZTEM survey, which is excellent for mapping out resistivity, and showed us the intrusive complex running straight through. Remember, it's all buried and you can't see anything. So we mapped out the intrusive complex. There's a fault in there that's bleeding out high-grade copper into a skarn. It wasn't a target that we were ever overly interested in, but there's copper in the system. So we did a fairly large-scale IP survey over the area that we thought looked the best. And what we found, we ended up at 3 porphyry targets. We only have IP over one of them.
Wow.
And on that, we have a really strong chargeability anomaly. It's inside the intrusive, so it's in the same rocks as the low grade. We have the sort of lower grade shell of chargeability, which clearly shows what we were drilling. If you move the geochemistry back, it lands directly on top of that chargeability anomaly, which sits right at the bottom of a shear, which is leaking up all the high-grade copper you see in the skarn. So you've got this, and it's not small. It's about 1.6 kilometers long. It's about 800 meters wide, and we can only see to about 700 meters depth, but it's still there at 700 meters. So we've got this really strong, untested copper, chargeability anomaly that looks like a sulfide.
And the
body.
chargeability was hitting like 3 times
It's
what.
3 times as strong as what we were already drilling.
Yeah, that's.
So it's just a beautiful anomaly. So we're pretty excited to get back out there and drill that.
That sounds great. Liberty is exciting. Now you might capital pending, right?
Yeah,
You might
we
be
have
drilling.
we have enough money to drill Liberty right now. So
You do? Okay.
We do. Yeah, we have 1.7.
But that won't be till spring, summer.
We're just at the last stage. We have to update the permitting. We're 8 months into that. We don't see any issues. As I said, it was already permitted, so everything's going really well. I would like to think we'll see the permit in the next 6 weeks.
Okay.
And I think we would like to drill that in June. It's just perfect weather, perfect. We went in early last year, fought the weather a little bit, which is fine. You could drill there year round once you have infrastructure. But just to go in and just to do it effectively, I think June is perfect.
That sounds exciting. But you've got other projects, and
Yeah.
again, capital pending. You could be drilling as many as 3 projects this year.
Yeah,
is that
we
right?
have. Yeah, so to the north, our flagship property, the Utsutla property, has 2 really strong targets on that. We've kind of been accused of downplaying those targets a little bit. A lot of that was we discovered it a few years ago. It's a brand new discovery in an area with no exploration for gold. So there was some sensitivity for permitting. So we took our time, we did it right, and now the entire project, 40,000 hectare, legitimately district scale project,
Wow.
is fully permitted now for advanced exploration.
Wow.
We've got a porphyry target on one side, and we've got high grade gold veins on the other side. Big high grade gold veins. Again, never ever seen before.
That's great. And you brought some samples, rock samples here to the MIF event.
Yes.
And that's from another project.
No, that's actually from Highlands at the Utsutla project.
Oh,
So
that's part of it. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the west side. So yeah, everybody likes visible gold, So it's a fun place to do a property tour. You can, there's lots of vein rubble down in the valley. You can say, go bang some of that. You smash it, and within 5 minutes, you're going to have visible gold.
That's
So there's a big vein outcropping. We see it's outcropping in the cliff about 250 meters across. It runs sort of, on average, from what we're sampling there, sort of 60 grams to 200 grams. But we get that, we're picking it up, the same vein, about 500 meters to the west and to the, I guess, northwest. And we're picking that, and that's returning grades up to 600 grams per ton, like
Wow.
18 ounces per ton. So it's
Yeah.
same vein, half kilometer one direction. We're picking it up 70, 80 meters in a different direction, and that's just at surface. So
Yeah, wow.
that area's never seen any drilling. It's not been drilled.
These are all virgin properties, basically.
Absolutely, yeah. And we have 4 gold zones on that western side. So
Wow.
there's geochemical anomalies with grab samples that haven't been looked at. We need to do trenching. We need to do more geophysics. But it's a big gold system.
Yeah.
So a lot of juice running through there.
So speaking of that, what should investors expect here in 2025? What are we going to see here over the next 6 months or so?
Well, I wish I knew that myself. I'd like to say that we're going to have success at Liberty. So we're going to get out there. and
But
start,
what are you going to be doing, actually?
we're going to drill Liberty.
Yeah.
So as soon as we can
Yeah.
do that, we'll
Yeah.
get out there and we'll drill. It's a hell of a target. So,
Yeah.
And there's been successes recently that are very similar style, similar approach to discoveries. So we'd like to follow that and
Absolutely.
obviously drill that.
That's
So,
great. Lots of catalysts coming for this company. A pre-discovery story that just has got a good shot at making a real discovery this year. So this is a stock that I own, full disclosure. I am overweight this stock. I really believe in Daithi and the company and your whole team, too. You've got a pretty good team
we've got
behind
an
you.
excellent team.
Yeah, it's great. So thanks for joining us here. Thanks for joining me, Daithi, here at the Metals Investor Forum.